The feeling of rejection is akin to being branded with a hot iron, destroying all hopes of love or belonging. We're social creatures and require companionship to survive, so imagine if suddenly everyone you held dear saw you as a beast, an irredeemable monster of darkness, and banished you from your home and everything you once knew. Weber was always a curious child, and with that he wondered what was in those strange packages his scientist father was studying in his lab so intensely behind lock and key. So he snuck in during the night to find a familiar giant spider. It broke free from its enclosure and attacked him. Instead of killing him, the two were bound as one. Weber's father, hearing all the noise, investigated and was horrified, so he chased his own son away into the night, not even recognizing him. Left with no options and no one to turn to, Weber took the first offer he was given for a chance at a new life. With 175 health, 175 hunger, and 100 sanity, due to the combination of man and spider, Weber now has a special connection with all types of arachnids in the Constant. They're pretty much the only ones who accept him and won't bring out the torch and pitchforks. With their help, he becomes a force on the same level as the Mongols of the 13th century. My name is LimeLichen. Trap all the flies and start producing some venom as I tell you all about how it feels to play Weber. Spiders are not known for being liked by literally anyone, having an entire phobia named after them. So it's no surprise that neutral mobs like bunnymen, pigmen, and even catcoons will attack Weber on sight. I wouldn't rule out trading with the Pig King, as he'll still take any trinkets or meat off your hands, regardless of your race. That doesn't surprise me at all. Even among the pigs, money talks. Ignore all the candy he's giving me. This video was filmed during the yearly Halloween event. I was planning on finishing this before the 31st, but it's safe to say I missed that by a wide margin. It's not all bad for Weber, as his stomach can tolerate all kinds of raw meat and monster foods with no ill effects to him. I wouldn't recommend it though. Cooking your meat provides superior preservation, but at least you won't end up poisoning yourself if you end up trapped somewhere and the only food available is purple and hairy. I feel like that upside would have made more sense if he could gain more satiation from monster meat, but time will tell if Clay decides to rebalance that part of his character. I feel like every one of these videos is just me complaining about how the game should be. It's not how it feels, it's how LimeLichen thinks they're better than the over 100 employees at Clay. But the former just rolls off the tongue better, don't you think? The more impressive aspect of this new form is Weber's position as the king of the spiders. When you spawn, you're given a free spider nest to start the magnificent 8-eyed empire. You can upgrade them with silk or wait for them to grow on their own. If you use the decorating kit, all spiders will pacify around the nests, but they won't grow automatically, so you'll have to use a razor to harvest webs from natural nests or from your face every few days. You gotta put some thought into where exactly you're gonna prop up these free housing developments. Weber can run faster on webbing, so you could base right next to them and sleep inside of the level 3 nests like a tent for less hunger drain. But any unallied spiders will attack any neutral followers and other players. So maybe it's better to put them in a different area, or only have decorated nests around. That choice is yours. You are the master of your own Spider Sim City.
No one can tell you what you can or cannot do.
Similarly to pigmen, spiders can be pacified by feeding them meat. But unlike those greedy swine, spiders will stay loyal indefinitely and with the cutest of smiles on their little hairy faces. You can even dress them in your choice of headwear, offering endless personalization. A little meat goes a long way too, as not only will the spider you fed be tamed, but also 2 others in its vicinity. Now, numbers are an important part of the equation, but precision is more so. Thus, Weber has a few items to craft that allow him better control of his spiders. The webby whistle will bring out any spiders in their nests for taming and refocus the attention of allied spiders to stop them from eating any scraps off the floor from a battle. The shoebox will dismiss but also untame all your spiders, so you'll have to break out the treats to get their attention again. The boomerang, while not an exclusive Weber item, can be used to great effect to target mobs at a distance, since spiders will only attack what you land a hit on. Just click to throw, then cancel your attack and watch as your little soldiers absolutely decimate your foes. I'd be lying if I said the experience was comparable to Pikmin though. Spiders can't stand in formations, or be told to stay put, or be organized by type, which all seem like massive oversights when it comes to making a character based entirely on commanding these guys and in large numbers. Again, this will probably change in the future update, or if Clay is secretly watching my videos, please comment. But more than likely, this system would be too difficult to implement in a game like Don't Starve Together and its control scheme. I don't have a lot of problems with Weber. In fact, I only have 2, counting this one. But they are huge fucking problems. The next one will be discussed soon, so bear with me. You're not just stuck with whatever spider type you initially found. You can convert any spider species to another using switcherdoodles, a collection of 7 cookies corresponding to the 7 spider types. Some have super duper mega ultra hyper specific use cases, and others are more widely applicable. Warriors, found in level 2 and 3 spider nests, are exactly that more useful type, coming with more health, damage, and immunity to stun locking. Their main draw is their nifty lunge attack that has a whole tile of range. They aren't a perfect upgrade though. I find them very slow to attack, as they must do that whole wind-up thing before they strike. In fact, they have the slowest attack period of any spider in the game. Still, comes in handy when your prey decides to book it to safety. Danglers, found in caves, are very similar to warriors, but they're whiter, fluffier, and cuter than them. They're quite abundant too, common in the ruins and in web-infested trees all over the caves. Spiders can't follow you up and down the cave entrances, so the only way to get them up to the surface or down into the caves is carrying them in your inventory, which can get quite cumbersome when each one takes up their own individual inventory slot. It's best to keep 2 armies handy, one on the surface and one in the caves. Cave spiders are, what a fucking shock, found in caves, and instead of having a special attack, they have the opposite, hiding in their shells and resisting 70% of damage dealt to them. They can take all the attention away from the heavier hitting or support spiders to allow them to recuperate. You need these guys in your ranks. Spitters, again, found in caves, are unmatched in their DPS and range. Instead of biting, they shoot projectiles for the same damage and more frequently than any other spider can bite. Since they can start combat from so far away, they remain relatively untouched on the battlefield. Shattered spiders, found on lunar islands, are kind of a mixture of warriors and spitters, having boosted melee damage, a long-range attack, and a feistier attitude. A cool side grade, but a little too rare for my taste. Striders, found in waterlogged mangroves, can skate across the water and at a brisk pace, perfect for boat combat and keeping you company on those long, isolating voyages. I've saved the best for last, nurse spiders. These guys only appear when in a fight with a spider queen. They can take a little while to start spawning, so be patient. Every few seconds, they'll strike the ground to create an AoE healing bubble which can restore 150 HP to other spiders and 8 HP to Weber. They don't do it super often, but gather a dozen or more of these guys and you'll make your troops practically immortal. Who needs that dumb healing sap item when these guys just give health away for free? All these different spider types can synergize beautifully and operate their best at high numbers to swarm and overwhelm your opponents. You'll find easier victory this way. The only real threat to your dynasty is AoE attacks, which is unfortunate because a lot of bosses use AoE attacks. Spiders are great, don't get me wrong, but many bosses are just perfectly and annoyingly built to counter any group-based tactics. Which I guess makes sense in a game where there may be up to 5 other players in any given instance. Deerclop's one and only attack can petrify spiders instantaneously and leave them vulnerable to a follow-up, almost guaranteed to finish the job. Berger likewise only attacks with sweeps, not to mention his stomps which can wipe anything in the vicinity clean off the map. Dragonfly and Bee Queen interrupt your soldiers' attack patterns with their fire or their incessant screeching. Celestial Champion, and geez, I can't believe I'm talking about him, at Phase 2 turns into a giant spinning super blender of chaos. And remember what I said about water combat?
Oh, forget about it.
Because both Malbatross and Crab King both make heavy use of wide-sweeping AoE attacks. I can go on and on and on about how ruthlessly I was dominated by these bosses. Not every one of them was a challenge, though. I wanted to like spider combat so much. It was so promising from that Lardy video I saw, but the reality of it is far more disappointing. This is my biggest issue with Weber, and the reason I don't play him more often. Without his spider army, what good is he as a character? His main draw is countered by half the whole goddamn game, and you are given severely limited control, further hampering your ability to be effective. There are workarounds, sure, but god damn it, I shouldn't have to jump through hoops to store my spiders away or get them to go where I want them. there's a much more common and far more useful way people use their subjects, as expendables for the greater good of keeping my belly full.
Get in my belly!
Spider ranching is a simple and pretty lucrative practice. All you gotta do is set up some nests or find a particularly infested area, tame some spiders and leave some neutral, give them a good smack, and watch as a civil war unfolds, brother against brother. You know, divide and conquer, as they say. I got a comment in a previous video predicting that I'd say Spider Wars are antithetical to Weber's playstyle or something. You were wrong, viewer. In fact, I love it. There's something so cathartic watching as an entire colony of spiders pitted against each other annihilate themselves as you alone are left with the spoils. A good RTS is incomplete without the option to offer your people as a sacrificial lamb to feed your own selfish interests. Just like in real life. Make sure to stand in between them to pick up any meat scraps, because as I mentioned earlier, spiders, even allied ones, will eat any meat left unclaimed. I wonder if this counts as cannibalism for Weber. Or at least half of him. He doesn't appear to be bothered by this, so I guess it's kosher. Even though the rest of the world has rejected Weber, his survivor friends stick by him. It helps to be able to generate mountains and mountains of monster meat, filling ice boxes for in-game years, not to mention the myriads of other uses for spider glands like telltale hearts, healing salves, nests, and other character-specific recipes. Silk is also needed for the ever-essential sewing kits or duct tape and almost every piece of clothing. Because Weber can command an almost unlimited fleet of fodder, he can be helpful in harvesting souls for Wartox or Willow, because what says absolute autocratic rule like controlling the very fate of your people's souls after death? And what army is complete without the uniform? Since you can give your spiders any headwear, using Wigfrid's battle helm seems like the most obvious choice. Now that is a warrior. There's another synergy I've gone over in the past, but in case you haven't seen it, Weber and Wendy are basically made to take advantage of each other's mechanics. Weber populates an area with the spider proletariat, and Wendy pushes them through her mob mower! You will be fed to the machine and be happy. Weber has been a mixed bag for me. I love the idea of being a lord over these peons, subjugating their leaders and relocating their homes as I please while I throw them at my enemies. The execution, however, leaves a lot to be desired. While I wasn't the biggest fan, I'm sure you can find something you enjoy as you find out how it feels to play Weber. Thank you for watching, and make sure to vote in the coming character poll for the next How It Feels video. I've made a Tumblr blog to replace my Instagram and Threads account, so if you want to check that out, a link will be in the description. I will see you guys in the next video, and remember, stay sour.